Am I the a-hole for anonymously reporting my chief executive officer for fraud after I discovered he was secretly using company funds to pay for his sick wife's experimental treatment? Even though I knew it would bankrupt the company and cost everyone their jobs, our chief executive officer, Mr. Harrison, was the kind of leader you read about in business magazines. He was brilliant, kind, and he knew every single one of his 300 employees by their first name. He was my mentor. But the person everyone in the company truly admired was his wife, Eleanor. For years, she had been battling a rare, aggressive form of cancer, and Mr. Harrison's devotion to her was legendary. He was a man who seemed to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he did it with a quiet, unshakable grace. That is why what I found felt like such a betrayal. I am a senior analyst in the finance department, and I was working late one night running a quarterly audit when I found it. It was a tiny thread, a single anomaly in a sea of data, an invoice paid to a shell corporation I had never heard of. I started digging. For 3 nights, I barely slept, following a trail of digital breadcrumbs that led from that one invoice to a complex web of deceit. Mr. Harrison was siphoning millions of dollars from the company. It was not for a new yacht or a secret gambling habit. The payments were being funneled to a private clinic in Switzerland, one of the only places in the world offering a radical experimental treatment for Eleanor's exact type of cancer. My heart sank. This was not greed. This was desperation. This was a man breaking every rule in a desperate attempt to save the woman he loved. For a week, I was paralyzed. I would see Mr. Harrison in a meeting, calmly discussing budget cuts and telling us we all had to tighten our belts, and my stomach would be in knots. I knew the real reason for the tight margins. It was him. He was bleeding us dry to keep his wife alive. But then I would see a picture of Eleanor on his desk, her smile so full of life, and I would think, what would I do in his shoes? I thought about my coworker, Jen, who had just put a down payment on her first house. I thought about Mark in logistics, whose wife was expecting twins. If I reported this, the company would implode. All 300 of us would be out of a job. If I did not, the company would just die a slower death, and I would be complicit. The choice became impossible. I felt like I was holding a switch that would either save the company or save a woman's life. Last Monday, I walked into the office and saw termination notices on a dozen desks. The first round of layoffs had begun. That was it. My silence was now costing people their livelihoods. That night, with shaking hands, I drafted an anonymous email to the board of directors, attaching all the evidence I had compiled. I sat there for an hour, my finger hovering over the send button, before I finally closed my eyes and clicked. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. Investigators swarmed the building. Mr. Harrison was fired, and a week later, he was arrested. The scandal hit the news, our investors pulled out, and within a month, the company filed for bankruptcy. Our final day was like a funeral. I watched Jen openly sobbing, her dream of a new home gone. I packed my things in a box, avoiding the glares of people who had been my friends. Yesterday, I received an envelope in the mail with no return address. Inside was a small folded newspaper clipping. It was an obituary for Eleanor Harrison. She had passed away peacefully 2 weeks after her treatment was stopped. Below the article, someone had written 3 words in shaky, angry handwriting. Are you happy?